Okay guys, so welcome to my topic 4 storage device presentation from Green Canyon University. This is CYB 515. So I'm trying to adjust my camera so you can see me a little better. Okay, so this is storage device presentation. So the video layout. First, I'm going to describe the similarities and differences between the file system structure of Windows OS and Linux OS. Next, I will explain why, from like a business standpoint, um, someone or I would prefer one system over the other for their machines to run throughout their business. Next one will be comparing, at least two storage solutions in an enterprise network, and then the final one will be, from a Christian's perspective, identify the ethical considerations of utilizing storage devices in an information technology system when cost considerations are prevalent. I will also explain the role of ethics, and how it would play in my decision making process. So, first one, file structures within Linux and Windows OS. So in Microsoft, there's differences in between them. So in Microsoft, Microsoft Windows, obviously, files are stored in folders on different drives. So, for example, I put in right here C drive, D drive, E drive, etc. However you want to label your drives, that's what they are all in, right? So, Linux, they use directories. So files are ordered in a tree structure. So from top to bottom, bottom to top, starting with a root directory, which is like the super user directory, and then into subdirectories from there. So those ones will, however you search for them. Well, if you know how to search for them, then you will find each in there. So use the command like cd for change directory, rather than linking it to a file or changing a file line on it. So okay, so in Linux, both of these operating systems have command line utilities to control everything within desktops, servers, network storage, and the file systems. And obviously my intake citations right there, just because that's where I got it from, but I already knew that. It's not that difficult to know that. So another difference between these two OSs is that Linux is open source, which means that anybody can change stuff about it. It's not like you don't need a licensing like you do right here. Like I said on here, Windows requires a license to access, so you have to have your access license in order to register it and then be able to use your Windows operating system. Windows is generally more user friendly compared to Linux, mainly because that's just how it's set up. So you don't have to change you don't have to go in there and go into the command prompt, or you don't have to go into any kind of root interface on there in order to change stuff. You just kind of click and play. So Linux is also known to be more secure versus Windows being not as secure, obviously. Essentially, the main differences within the files is that Windows sections off drives and includes files, while Linux treats everything like a file within its directory. So every single thing is a file. So next, since Windows, this is business preferences. Since Windows systems often come with a lot of extra applications, Linux can be like a better, like less or more simple way or solution for a business, just because it doesn't come with all the extra applications and programs that you probably may not ever use. Some may say the same about, this is different, but some may say the same about Android versus Apple. They may say that you don't get as many installed applications on Apple as you do on Android. So from a business perspective, me personally, I would choose Linux OS, since that's what one of the questions is on here. I would choose Linux. I like how it's laid out. I use Kali on my VM and everything else on there. You can run servers. You can run a bunch of different things on it. So that's all right there on my slide. So enterprise network storage solutions. So for enterprise network storage solutions, out of a bunch of them that I've researched, I would say the two that catch my eye are network attached storage and then also cloud storage. Obviously, you guys have probably heard of cloud storage. As everybody pretty much has it. I mean, you have Apple Cloud, you have Google Drive, you have iCloud, you have a bunch of different cloud storages, and you can even set up your own as well through certain businesses. So these two storage solutions both offer great benefits, and there also are some downsides as well, of course. So while cloud services store backup data onto a remote server, this is like the kind of differences between them. So they're on a remote server away from your. So so it's on a remote server away from your business. However, or for just individually, obviously if you go through iCloud, or you go through Google Drive, you go through all these other ones, or your 123 Cloud or whatever, you're not storing it at your location, unless you set up your own, I guess. So a NAS device, which would be like a huge server or huge storage server, essentially, that is located on your site. So if you have a business and you don't want to pay for a cloud or you don't want to use a cloud, then you can have your own storage. So on your computer, you can set up that kind of thing as well, or on a separate computer to run everything too. So for a cloud server, a big risk is that you're trusting someone else, with your trusting company or whatever, with your information and all your data and stuff, and hoping that it still stays backed up, and hopefully they don't go under or whatever. I would recommend cloud personally. I recommend cloud. So NAS are also sometimes more expensive, up front at least. After some research, up front they're more expensive because you have to, obviously pay for all the storage stuff. And then for cloud though, I would say personally, like I put in here, there's almost unlimited data storage size options. So you can have a gig, you have 50 terabytes, you have 100 terabytes, and you pretty much do everything, just get charged monthly, and you're good to go to store everything. So ethical decision making. So data ethics is based on a Christian approach, refers to a system of values and morals relating to the collection, use, and sharing of data. So essentially, if you are the custodian of data, which cybersecurity professionals, IT, we are custodians of people's information and data. We have access to everything. You just make sure that you do it right. Don't do anything stupid. Don't do anything bad with it. These are the list of things I put on here. So to consider when utilizing storage devices in the information technology system, the considerations are safety, privacy, security, and integrity of that data. So you always want to make sure that you are safe with it. You don't let it go unsecure. Privacy, obviously, you don't want to release the information out. If someone has, especially for businesses or even just individuals, you don't want to put photos out there. You don't want to put customers' information. You don't want to put locations. You don't want to put any of that stuff out there. Or, even social security numbers and stuff. That's all on their servers. Sometimes depending on what kind of businesses, or hospitals, all that stuff, medical records. Should be safe with it. And integrity, they are obviously trusting you with it. So integrity is doing the right thing when no one is looking. Keep that in mind. Have your Christian values intact whenever you are handling, or just ethical decisions. Make ethical decisions when you are handling other people's data and information. So when someone has access to all individuals or organizations' information, it needs to be treated very carefully and secure it like it's your own data. So if you have social security numbers on there, treat it like it's your own social security number, obviously. So that's a Christian approach to it, and just in general, a ethical, good way of doing things. So obviously, I have a degree also in criminal justice and law, and so a lot of things were ethics, and it's very interesting. So, anyways, so when cost considerations are prevalent, the decisions have to still be made along a moral code. So if they're just backing up data, you're not going to charge them, $500, depending on what it is, obviously. But, you have to just make sure that you are, you have that integrity and you have those morals in line, your moral compass is straight and good to go. So if someone needs data security, then it is our job to protect that data for them. And so that is bring me to my reference slide, and that is it. And have a good night. Thank you.